do this.
Welcome to Davey Dave's Take. Today we are talking about Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget, the long-awaited sequel from the classic stop-motion animated film. Having pulled off an escape from Tweety's farm, Ginger has found a peaceful island sanctuary. But back on the mainland, the whole of chickenkind faces a new threat, and Ginger and her team decide to break in. Chicken Run has a special place in my heart because it's one of those first films I actually remembered watching. Like, you get to that age where you actually start remembering things. And I remember Chicken Run is one of the first films I've ever seen. It's Chicken Run, that Thomas the Tank Engine movie, and the first Pokemon movie. Those three movies I vividly remember watching when I was very young. And I remember I loved that film, so I rewatched it today in preparation for Dawn of the Nugget. And I'm happy to say it still holds up. The original Chicken Run is fantastic. It's one of the best stop-motion movies ever made. It's so great. It's just really amazing filmmaking. The effort that's put into it, the craft, it's really unbelievable, some of the things they pull off, and it's just a really great time. Chicken Run is absolutely one of those films that still holds up today. So of course I was excited for the sequel. I didn't really know anything about it. I didn't even watch the trailer. I just heard there was some recast. I heard Netflix was doing it. So I was a little concerned, but at the same time, I couldn't hide my excitement. And I'm happy to say that Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget is a worthy sequel to Chicken Run, and it's a pretty good time. I had a lot of fun with this film. It's definitely not one of those sequels that's better than the original or even comes close to as good as the original, but it's still a good time, and there are many things I really like about this film. One of the best parts about this film, and probably the most charming part about this film, is the new character Molly, Ginger's daughter, and their relationship. It's really well done here, and you really can tell that this is Ginger's daughter. She is fearless, she's full of energy, she always wants to be heroic, she always wants to go out and do things. So that whole dynamic and that whole relationship is really well done because obviously Ginger from the first film doesn't want to be caged in, but at the same time she's trying to do everything she can to protect everything that she's built. On the other hand, Molly is just like Ginger, and she doesn't want to be caged in too. She wants to go out and do adventures and things like that, but Ginger knows what the dangers are in the real world. So there is a really interesting relationship between those two, and it really develops really well. And that's really the heart and soul of the story and the film. And the animation here is spectacular. I mean, this studio can never do any wrong. I love whenever they make films like this. Like Wallace and Gromit and the Were-Rabbits, one of my favorite animated movies of all time. So anytime there is a film made like this, I always get excited. And the animation here is mind-blowing. It's so colorful. You can see the fingerprints of the animators when they're making these stop motion animations, and I just love that little detail because they're literally putting their heart and soul into these films. And stop motion is so hard to do. It probably took years to make this film, but it really paid off because this film looks spectacular. And back to the story, I like how the story here kind of flips the original story on its head. What I mean by that is in the original film, they're trying to break out of this gross chicken farm. In the new film, they're trying to break into a facility. I won't say what it is, that'd be spoilers, but it did feel a little bit different than what we've got before. And there's some clever things they do to make the film feel fresh and not just a complete remake of the original, so I really did appreciate that. But that does go into some of my issues with the film. It does feel like a lot of things are recycled from the first film, specifically with some characters, specifically with the villain. Miss Tweety's back, and I'm not gonna lie, it was nice to see her back on screen, and there are scenes that are a lot of fun with her, but it does feel like there are moments where it just felt like she was just there because we all remember who Mrs. Tweety was from the original film. So part of me feels like this team is really creative with the animation, their storytelling, where they could have created a new villain that would have been just as great. But also there's a part of me that can't lie that would say it was nice to see her back on screen. And I'm not gonna lie, a lot of jokes didn't land, unlike the original where most of the jokes landed. And it felt like some characters were pushed aside and some plot elements were sort of glossed over. And this isn't an issue, I just feel like I have to say it. This film doesn't come close to the original. It's a great companion piece, it's a worthy sequel, it is a lot of fun. But I feel like if your expectations are this film is going to be as good as the original Chicken Run or even better, I'm here to say that it's just okay. It's a good time. It's definitely worth watching. I think it's a film that if you are a big fan of the original Chicken Run, you're going to have a blast with it. But if you're expecting something to be groundbreaking, I think you'll be a little bit disappointed. But I really need the preference that that is totally okay. Not everything needs to be groundbreaking. Not everything needs to blow your mind. Sometimes there are films that will be made that are just a fun time, that hit the right notes, and overall an enjoyable experience. And that's exactly what Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget is. And if you're a big fan of the original, I definitely think it's worth checking out. I'm going to give Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget 7 Davey Daves. Really, though, if you have not seen the original Chicken Run in a while, I do think you should rewatch it, and you'll be reminded of how much of a banger that movie is, because I kind of forgot. It's a great film. So, Chicken Run, Don the Nugget. Let me know what you guys thought of it once you've seen it. I'm curious to hear, and thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more of Davey's Takes.